So, Mr. Venkatesh Mahadevan, thank you very much to have spared your valuable time, for the interaction today. With a short, your responses are very prompt. Sometimes even I feel, I write you the text, I text you, and immediately I get the response. Thank you so much, and I would request. I've already introduced you to our director, sir, Dr. Tapan Kumar Nayak. He's there with us. We have with us PGDM first year students and second year students, right? And the topic is certainly it's very interesting. It's very good, responsible leadership. So without further ado, I would request
Dr. Bhavika is not there for that.
No, yeah, she's. I think some technical issue, sir. So I
Okay,
would request
no
Prince is there.
No issues. We can start with the session. So let me welcome Mr. Venkatesh on board. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation to be here on board and guiding the young budding managers of Jaipuria School of Business. As Farman has rightly said, Mr. Venkatesh, that we have students from both first year and second year. The majority of from the first year students, and the topic it's rightly chosen, very, very pertinent in nature. Responsible leadership, right? We all, in fact, indeed, talks many a times about leadership, but the concept of responsible leadership gives a values to it, right? So we all need to understand what this responsible leadership is. That basically what I believe that it is nothing but the sustainable approach which we add to the leadership trait. Okay, so on this, I remember one very small story. I was going through a book today morning by You Can Win by Shiv Khera. All the students must have gone through it. That is a very small story. One day, the highest authority of defense of US, he was trying to push a big log which was lying on the road, right? And he was trying his best, but he could not. He could not do this alone. So after some time, he saw that a man coming with a horse rider came to him very close, and he helped that man to push that particular log from the road to the roadside, right? And can you imagine who that man was? That man was none other than the then president of US, Mr. Franklin. Okay, and that's what we call it, a kind of responsible leadership, that we should all lead by example. Right? So we all have this. I request all of you to please mute yourself. Anurag, can you please mute? Yes. Rather, you can on your you can switch on your camera. All of you, mute yourself, please. Right. So we all should have the online etiquette also. Rather going for a particular session. So I was talking about that story that we all have the leadership trait, but it should be responsibly taken over. We all should be very, very responsible while we lead our team, whether it is your subordinate, whether it is your boss, whosoever. This is the responsible group dynamism. Who can be better than us and better than Mr. Venkatesh to guide you, to take you through this particular aspect. Okay, so not taking much time. So I have a very little knowledge about this. That's what I tempted me to share one small story, but all goes to Mr. Venkatesh to take you through. And I request all the students, please keep your questions with you. You can write your questions on the chat box. You can even interact with Mr. Venkatesh. You can unmute yourself, ask your questions. Do not make this moment to leave without making any interaction, right? So thank you so much, Venkatesh. Over to you.
Yeah, Mr. Prince.
Prince, are you here?
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, respected Speaker of the Day, Mr. Venkatesh Mahadevan, Chief Information Officer at Dubai Investment PJSC, respected Director, Dr. Tapan Sir, respected Dr. Vartika Chaturvedi Ma'am, Faculty Coordinator. Mr. Venkatesh is IT professional with 22 years of experience working with reputed organization in Asia Pacific region, based at Dubai and India with diversified industry segments such as FMCG, financial services, telecom, manufacturing, retail, technology, and business transformation. He has worked with Motorola, Incorporated, E&G, IFCO, Coca-Cola, and many more. He is an angel investor and a talk show host and creator of Genpod. He is the recipient of CIO Legend Award 2020 by Global CIO Forum. We welcome you, sir, and we really look forward for your words of wisdom on responsible leadership. Over to you, sir.
Hey, thank you very much, Prince, for the lovely introduction. And yeah, awards you get because sometimes they like my face, sometimes they don't have people to give awards to, so they call me and give me. So thank you very much, Dr. Tapan. Thank you so much for the introduction and the lovely story. So yeah, I have read all of Mr. Khera's books as well, and
Right.
so very interesting books. Farman, always lovely to interact with you, and we lost touch in between, but you've come back and you found me. So I think that's the downside of social media. That's a downside of social media. You can't hide for very long. So and Dr. Vartika, I know we couldn't speak or meet. I think you have some audio issues, but thank you for joining this call. So good afternoon, everybody. I don't know whether I'm standing in the middle of your lunch or it's post lunch. If it's post lunch, then that justifies why about 75% of the cameras are still off and you guys are sleeping or snoring away. And because you're on mute, your snore can't be caught. If you're prior to lunch, then I'm sure you're hungry and munching some biscuits and you don't want the director to see you. But seriously, you know, you are the future generation. You are Generation Y or Generation Z. And I find this odd. Unless you have a compelling reason, it's always nice to keep your video on in a conversation. And I am a huge, and I'm not saying you have to do it today, but I am a huge believer in the emotional connect. I am a huge believer in putting a face to the name. I am a huge believer in talking to a person when I'm addressing them, him or her. And I don't know, I normally, and Farman is used to it, I normally like to present in person. I like to be in front of 50, 100, 200 students and speak to them, because that's when you actually feel the pulse of the audience. But thank you very much for this opportunity. I'm hoping that over the next whatever time allotted to me, I will be able to talk some sense. I am going to probably share stories with you and not give you too much of gyan. I'm going to share stories with you and try to see if some of us can relate to some of it or to all of it, and then obviously you can ask me any question you have, and I will share with you. Considering that I've spent so much time in the industry that my hair has become completely white, so we will talk about it. So morning, and Farman, is it okay if I share my screen as well?
Yes, definitely.
So let me do that before I. So can you all see my screen?
Yes. Please go ahead.
Okay, so today's topic is not a secret. It is responsible leadership. You know, it's a very funny thing, and Dr. Tapan mentioned it when he spoke in the morning. It's leadership. Everybody is a leader. Everybody wants to be a leader. Everybody wants to be called by different names. Everybody wants to stand at the head of the table. Everybody wants to be addressed by different names. But when it comes to actually taking leadership, when it comes to actually picking up the baton and running, when it comes to actually standing up for somebody, when it comes to speaking on behalf of somebody, when it comes to taking the bullets on yourself, when it comes to sharing the responsibility, when it comes to taking the monkey on your back, you realize that a lot of people shy away. A lot of you are young. when you get to my age, or even when you get to being a little older and start working for organizations, you will realize you will come across and work with a lot of leaders, some of whom inspire you, some of whom lead you, some of whom hold your hands and take you, some of whom are good, technically very sound, very good in their subject matter, but not really as inspiring as the others. And that's life, right? All of us are not made the same. So that's life. So this is the topic we're going to talk about. And I will talk and I will share stories with you. So you can, if there is something you want to ask me in between, you can, or we can have questions at the end of it. And I will leave enough time to answer any questions you want. Yeah. Okay. So everybody can hear me clearly, right? Farman, you all. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, how many of us wake up in the morning and make excuses? Okay. So can we have hands? Can we say? So yeah, that's nice to see. Only Ayushi and Prince and that's it. 2 out of 50 of you make excuses. Okay, that's Ria. I can see Ria as well. Good. Interesting. So, 5 out of 60 participants make excuses. So I'm assuming the rest are all leaders and they don't need this session. You can log off and go home and enjoy your weekend. Every morning when you wake up, and I'm saying this every morning when you wake up, every morning when you get to work or stand in front of the mirror and get yourself ready and say, I have to get somewhere. Don't we all make excuses? Don't we all look for excuses? Don't we all say, if I had enough money, I would have built a startup. If it had not rained today, I would have gone to see my parents. If there was not a bus strike today, I would have met my girlfriend. If there was a problem, if there was no problem on my way to college, I would have attended the college today. If I had a better lecture, I would have come to college. How many more excuses we make? So for me, typically, a leader is somebody who doesn't make excuses. Remember one thing, boys and girls, you can keep making excuses till the cows go home. You can keep talking about what you could not do because something went wrong. And I promise you, there will be enough and more people making those excuses and telling you, I could give you 10 excuses why I was not able to make it for the session today. I could give you 15 reasons why I think this session is a waste of time. I can give you 1 reason why I don't want to talk because I don't like Farman. I can give you 5 reasons why I don't want to talk because Dr. Tapan didn't introduce me properly. I can give you a reason why I will not speak and I'm insulted because Dr. Vartika Chaturvedi had a problem with audio and Zoom. I can give you 1 more reason saying why I was not treated well because Prince did not address me as sir and did not stand up and speaking to me. I can give you 1 more reason saying why I am in Dubai and this is a weekend for me here and why I should not be speaking to you, right? We can go on. The list is endless. Believe me, boys and girls, I have worked for leaders who do not make excuses. I've had leaders who have stood up and said, this is my problem. The day you stand up, the day you feel and say, this is my problem, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in official life, whether it is in your social gathering, whether it's any work you're doing, the day you stand up and say, this is my problem, I will solve it. That is the day you have started assuming leadership. Stop telling yourself that you need to be the president of the youth body to make decisions. Stop telling yourself that you need to be the general secretary to make decisions. Stop telling yourself that you need to be the monitor of the class to make decisions. Stop telling yourself that you need to get Farman's cabin to be able to work effectively. Stop telling yourself that you don't have Dr. Tapan's designation, that's why you can't work properly. Stop telling yourself that you don't have Vartika's salary, so you can't work properly. Stop telling yourself that you don't have the dean's car, that's why you can't work for it. Stop doing it. Ask yourself, start asking yourself, what can you do despite not having all of this? What can you do? I don't have a car, I don't have the salary, I don't have the designation, I don't have the position, I don't have 4 people working for me, I don't have a cabin, but I think I can still make a difference to the lives of 10 people in my class. I can still make a difference to one girl's life in my class. I can still teach economics to Farman, who is weak in it. I can still teach mathematics to, and you probably don't have, I can still teach quantitative analysis to Venki because he's weak in it. I can still stand up for somebody and say, sir, it was not his fault, it was my fault. Think of those reasons, and if you can't find, call me, ping me, message me, and I will tell you. Stand up and start taking ownership. And I promise you, you will feel bad once, you will feel bad twice, you will not feel bad a third time. You will start feeling responsible. And if you don't want to take responsibility, stop wanting to be a leader. Stop telling yourself, I'm a leader. I think I'm a great leader because I was born in a leader family, because Farman liked me. He's my cousin. He made me the president of the youth body in Jaipuria School of Business. Why I am a leader? Because Jaipuria School selected me. Why I am a leader? Because I scored 3.6 GPA in my, or 3.8 GPA in my graduation. Why I am a leader? Because I came first in college. No. You are not a leader because of any of this. You are a leader because of the deeds. It is because you stood up and took responsibility for somebody, somewhere, who is not even related to you. Very, very important what I'm telling you. And you can ask me questions about this. I will give you examples. So that for me is point number 1. And this, get it internalized, put it on your bathroom mirror, put it on the inside of your cupboard. So the next time you make an excuse, say, stop. Go back 3 steps, stop. Why are you late? Oh, there was traffic. Trust me, I use it even today. Very bad, very bad. We all use it, and we all do it because, you know what, I was going to come, but I just got called by somebody on the way. Traffic is not new in India. Traffic is not new anywhere in the world. You should have left 15 minutes before. It is not okay for 60 students to wait for you just because you are the keynote speaker. It is not at all okay. I don't like it. Me speaking today is not a position of power. Me speaking today, I feel very responsible because I feel I'm very privileged to have been invited, for Farman to find me and for Dr. Tapan to agree to get me to speak to 60 students, because I am speaking to 60 ignited minds. You are going to be the leaders. You are going to be the future of India or wherever you are. Okay? So stop making excuses. How many of you want to change? How many of you want to change? 8, 9. So 5 has gone to 9. Not bad. Brilliant. How many of you are willing to do what? So I took a session for CXO in CXOs in the Middle East, and there are about 75, 80 people in the room, and I was standing and talking. And I said, how many of you like change? And everybody, yes, we like change. How many of you want to change? How many of you are willing to do, are willing to take people to change? Yeah, we will lead a change. How many of you want to change to be able to make the difference? And the whole list came down from 75 to 20. Right? So my point is, what happened? Why have? Because all of us want change. All of us want things to move. All of us want the college to change. All of us want the library to get better. All of us want the food in the canteen to be better. All of us want the hostel rooms to be better. All of us want better lights in the classroom. All of us want better professors. All of us want everything possible from the college. All of us want 3 days weekend. All of us want to pass exams with good marks without studying or writing. All of us want that. How many of us are willing to change to be able to get to that? How many of us are willing to study 5 minutes extra? How many of us are willing to take the initiative and talk to the professor and say, Professor, I think the light in our classroom is very dim. We are unable to read. How many of us are able to stand up and say, guys, we need to change the way students arrive at the college in the morning? How many of us are willing to say, we need to get that extra 10 minutes? How many of us are willing to say, I am going to make a change in my life starting now? You know, and I always quote this example. People smoke, people drink, and you know, there are these anonymous courses, programs that actually make you leave smoking, make you leave drinking, right? So it says it'll take you 3 months, it'll take you 6 months, it'll take you 1 year. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something that will surprise you. It actually takes you that one moment when you decide you will not smoke from now. It takes you that one moment to say, starting to now, I am not going to be rude to people. There is no practicing. There is that moment, that internalization that says you need to change. Things are changing. At one point of time, technology used to change. So people will say, IT बहुत fast change hota hai. IT changes a lot. You know, I'm not in IT. I don't need to change. Today, and COVID has taught us this. In the last 2 years, the rate of change is so fast that and I'm talking about an institution. Let's take your college, your university. If today, for example, your university decides that they will not change and they don't want to change and they're going to be where they are, you think they will continue for long? What do you think? No, right? No, they will not. They will probably stay for another 5 years. But will they be there 50 years from now? Will the institution be there when Dr. Tapan has gone and left his legacy? Will the institution be there when Farman has gone and left his legacy? Will the institution be there when Vartika and Prince have gone on to, you know, their separate lives? We all want to leave a legacy. And today, Dr. Tapan knows, sitting where he is, that unless he embraces change, unless he institutionalizes change, things are not going to change. If Jaipuria School of Business says we have 150 students, we are making money, we are teaching MBA, we are fine, we don't need to do anything, Jaipuria School of Business, wake up and smell the coffee. Why? Because the change outside is rapid. Whether you talk marketing, but consumers have changed. Customers today are not willing to accept the same level of service that you are. Are you? How many of us use Amazon? I'm assuming 61 hands should go up. Come on, guys. I will not start talking till I get 61. And if somebody has not used Amazon, then I want that hand up. Because for me, he's God incarnate. How many of us, okay, that's fine. How many of us are willing to say, koi nahi yaar, 2 din late aa jaye package, koi baat nahi, I'm willing to wait. How many of us are willing to do that? I am assuming the answer should be 0, guys. So I can see Ayushi on the screen. Ayushi, are you willing to wait for 2 days or 3 days for your package to come and say it's okay to be late? No, you're not. Vinita, are you willing to say, Amazon, we understand you're late by 3 days. No problem. Take your own time. I will wait for you. Answer is no, right? Farman, are you willing to wait for Amazon to deliver a package whenever it pleases them?
No.
No, absolutely. Dr. Tapan will not wait. I will not wait. Prince will not wait. Deepak will not wait. Ramil will not wait. Gaurav will not wait. Anirudh will not wait. Why? because we as a consumer are now saying, I want a company that can service my needs immediately. Right? Isn't it? So you are willing to wait 7 days. Now you are not willing to wait. You were willing to hit an enter key, and you are all still young. There were times when we would hit an enter key and wait for the website to load. You guys are lucky. You are all the lucky generation. I won't comment on Dr. Tapan's age. I'm assuming he's very young, but all of you are lucky that, you know, you hit an enter key and boom, it opens.
Yes,
there was
I
a
am.
time.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
I like that. I'm glad you said that. There was a time we would hit the enter key and wait. Your generation will not wait. You will not wait because you are used to that. I would think you are the email generation. And correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know how many of you have written a postcard or an envelope if you're staying away from your parents. I don't think. The answer will be 0. I still write it to my sister. I don't know how many of you actually are willing to wait to get to where you want to. You want everything quick. The next generation that follows is actually going to be, and we used to call it the Facebook generation. It's going to be the social media generation, which means they don't even have email IDs. So you want to chat with them, it's either Snapchat or TikTok or Facebook or
Instagram,
whatever, right? Instagram or any other thing you want, or LinkedIn.
Twitter.
Farman has not written a single email to me. Instagram. Although Farman is not a Farman, I'm sorry, I'm going to take the liberty. Farman is not an email child, but Farman doesn't write emails to me. Farman still pings me only on LinkedIn. And the world is changing. So if I tell myself I will wait for an email to come from Farman and only then I will respond, I can keep waiting. Nothing wrong about it.
Absolutely.
But clearly that means I have not changed myself in respect to the world that is changing. And the rate of change, boys and girls, is very fast. So you can choose to stay there and become a dinosaur and get extinct, or you can choose to start adapting yourself. And if you go back and read about Charles Darwin, a lot of time people say that, you know, Charles Darwin said the mightiest will survive. He said it differently, but what people forget to read it, he also said the creatures that are adaptable to change will survive. And remember that always, right? So second is change. We do it all the time. Not my fault, Farman's fault. Not my fault, Prince's fault. Not my fault, Zoom. We even blame CEOs of companies. This is Sundar Pichai's fault. This is Satya Nadella's fault. This is N. Chandrasekharan's fault. This is Venki Mahadevan's fault. This is Farman's fault. This is Jaipuria College's fault. We will go right up to 7 generations and blame them. Why? We don't want to take responsibility. You know, I like, I don't know how many of you have read Harry Potter, but I liked what she said. And she said, you know, there is an expiry on how long you can blame your parents. Stop blaming your parents. Start taking responsibility. Going back to, so don't blame somebody for your inability. No. If he had given me more time, if I was given more time, I would have applied more makeup on my face. Yeah, so you should have got up 5 minutes back. If I was given more time, I would have prepared with 10 more questions for Mr. Venkatesh. I don't know when Farman informed you about my talk, but I'm sure it was not yesterday. It was much before that. So considering it was before that, you clearly sat on your backside for the last 5 days.
Yes.
So question is, forget about somebody else. What have you done? And old thing, when you point a finger at somebody else, you have 3 fingers pointing at you. Stop blaming somebody else for your inability, for your incompetence, for your lack of desire to change. You will be able to make a difference to your life if you are willing to change. And if you are not willing to change, stop blaming somebody else. You will be surprised. We actually blame people without even realizing we are blaming somebody else. Oh, useless people, useless professor, useless student. Other than our friends, everybody around is useless. Oh, my parents are outdated. Oh, the government is not doing this. Oh, the college is not doing this. Yes, I know the college is cannot do everything. I know the government cannot. What are you doing? Where is your responsibility? Where is your ability to deal with change? Where is your stop blaming the other person? When you work for organizations, you will realize it. It's very easy to pass the buck. Where is the memo? Oh, he has not given it to me. What were you doing? Did you go and remind him? No, you didn't, because it's not your responsibility. Yeah. You know, you are the millennials. You are the millennials, whether it's a Gaurav or a Prince or a Deepak or a Princey or an Anirudh or whoever it is. You guys are the millennials, right? Whether it's a Mehek or an Anurag or a Himanshu or a I would love to call Vartika and Tapan and Farman also millennials, but I would not, because that will mean I'm really lying. But Aman and Biplab and Amit and Akib and Kunal and Aman and all of you are millennials and so many more. You're all millennials. Even people's faces I can't see, Pradyum and Aditya and Aryan and Riya and Saurabh. You're also millennials. Even if you look old, you're still millennials. My point is, today, people like you are standing up and saying, I want to work for an organization that is high on values and ethics. I'm not going to give you a lecture on values and ethics because I'm sure you have one in college. And if you don't, when I come, I'll talk to you. You want organizations that are responsible, organizations that are making a difference to the environment, organizations that are in and Tapan, Dr. Tapan used this word very beautifully, sustainable, organizations that are paying a lot of attention to sustainability, organizations that are standing up and saying, me, Procter & Gamble, me, Coca-Cola, me, Venki Mahadevan will ensure that I am responsible for the community that I am part of. I will bring out products that will make a difference to people's life in a good way. I will make Nike will introduce sustainable athletic wear. Coca-Cola will introduce fruit drinks. Procter & Gamble will introduce sustainable products that will save the environment. Today, millennials like you are saying, it's not only about getting a job. When we passed out, we wanted a job. It's not about getting a job, but it's about, do I want to work for this organization? Is this organization known to be ethical? And then you will go on to the website, you will search, you will do all that, and you will see. And that change is happening globally and more in India. And when you are unable to make the change and you don't find an organization, a lot of you, and I want a lot of you to stand up and say, I am going to be that product. I am going to be that company. I am going to be an entrepreneur who will do that. Who will be sustainable, who will be responsible, for whom value and ethics matter. Very, very important. And this change is happening as we speak. Organizations are doing a lot, but this change is happening. 72% of CEOs are saying, you know, citizen trust, employee trust, whatever trust are very, very important to being competitive. If the people of the country don't trust the government will fall. If the people, if the employees in an organization don't trust the leader, the organization will not do well. If the employees, if the managers, if the leaders in an organization don't trust the organization and the people, the organization will not progress. Very, very important. Very, 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 very important. I cannot, you know, and World Economic Forum. Look at some of the talks that are given on World Economic Forums and global leaders. They're saying it's okay to generate. Yes, every business exists for profit. But while we are making money, while you are being profitable, are you also using a part of your profits to do societal good? You know, I run a Zen podcast called Zen Pod, and I would request you people to go and it's there on YouTube, it's there on Apple Podcasts, it's there on Google Podcasts. Go and like it, subscribe it, so whenever there is a point, it will come. I actually speak to leaders and trailblazers from different walks of life who actually come in and share their stories. And, and I've spoken to, so I'm in my fifth season now. So there are about 10 episodes in a season. And I've been doing it for over a year and a half. I've spoken to some people, I spoke to this lady and just some names that come top of mind. Her name is Chetna Gala Sinha. Chetna Gala Sinha works in some part of Maharashtra. She runs a foundation called the Mandeshi Foundation. Please go and look it up on the site. She's been awarded numerous times. She was a banker. She used to live in Bombay like I. She had great dreams as a girl, young girl growing up like she had a lot of dreams. She wanted to be a banker. She wanted to do that. And then accidentally in one of her visits with somebody to the village, she realized that farmers need protection. We need to do work around here. And something changed. There was a tipping point. And to cut a long story short, she decided to become an activist, and she set up the Mandeshi Foundation. And she's the first woman, actually, she's the woman who set up the first for and by rural bank, or a bank for rural women. She has women in her community, Kantabai, and she says this. So listen to that podcast. Go and listen to the podcast on Chetna Gala Sinha. She's saying people like Kantabai who don't have food. And that's a very touching story. She talks and she asks Kantabai, why do you sing? And she's a good singer. And she says, Madam, I sing because I sing to stop the hunger from getting to me. Think about it. It gives me goosebumps even today. She is singing because she wants to curb her hunger. This is India. And this lady has gone on and made a difference to the lives of hundreds of people. When she approached RBI to open a bank, Reserve Bank of India told her, they laughed at her and they said, you want to open a bank for people who can't read and write, who can't sign? And she was sent back. She came back and she promised herself that I, Chetna Gala Sinha, I am going to now educate my people. And she came back and told the women, and the lady said, don't cry, madam. We will learn. We will learn to read and write. We will study. We will educate ourselves to be able to read and write and sign our names. They did that. She went back after a year, and she said she did not go back alone. She went back with 10, 12, 14 people. And she said, here are the people who can read and write. Mr. RBI, Miss RBI, please give me a license to open a bank. And RBI did give a license. And the first bank for women was opened called the Mandeshi Bank. Please go and read up and look it up. These are stories that should inspire you. These are people who should speak to you. These are women who have stood up when they could have blamed the system, when they could have been irresponsible, when they could have gone the other way and led a very good life. Chetna could have lived a wonderful life in Bombay. And I don't know, I am shifting as I'm speaking to you because I am overwhelmed by what she has done for the community, by the society. Today, she has people who earn their own livelihood. They make vada pav, they make jewelry, they do all that. And we crib when the fan doesn't work in the classroom one day, or when the AC is not up to the mark, or when one of the bulbs goes fuse, or what, one day when there is one vegetable missing in the canteen. We crib. And we make a big noise, and maybe we take out a more chop because there was less salt in the bhindi sabzi today. Another story, and I'm fond of story. Another story, and this is the latest episode that was released last week. It's a lady called Sharanjit Shan. Grew up in India, was thrown out of her family, her community, because she wanted to get married to somebody, blah, blah, blah. Went to UK, got herself educated, acquired a couple of masters, PhD. Last 25 years, she's been living in South Africa. She runs a maths center. She runs a maths center incorporating sciences. And if you listen to her conversation, you will have tears in your eyes. People in Johannesburg walk 7 kilometers to attend school. And we don't come to college because the Uber or the Ola did not come. And we stay 2 kilometers away from college. Should you be asking yourself some pointed questions? These are children she decided to educate in maths and science because she believed maths and science are an integral part of life. Please tune in and listen to her podcast. I released part 1 last week. I released part 2 today. This morning I released part 2. I mean, these are people who make a difference to people's lives. What is responsible leadership? According to me, responsible leadership is inclusive leadership. What is inclusive leadership? You bring people together. It is very easy to exclude somebody. Ria, you are not tall enough. You cannot participate in long jump. Biplab, you are wearing glasses. You cannot run the 100 meters. Deepak, you are very good looking. You cannot participate in sack race. Professor Kanchana madam, you cannot come participate because you are a teacher. How about including and saying teachers can run with students? How about including and saying, so what if Biplab has glasses? Maybe he can wear contacts and run 100 meters. Maybe he can tie the glasses at the back like he ties his mask and run 100 meters. So what if Ria is short? Maybe she can jump longer than a 6-foot person. How about including people who are not as privileged or who are not what you think as talented or as empowered as you are? Try it. Empathetic leadership. How about putting yourself into the shoes of somebody else and saying, I know what you're going through. You know, Chetna Gala Sinha went through that. Sharanjit Shan goes through it. Another lady I will talk about a little later, Reena Kaushal Dharmashaktu. She is the first lady to have skied across the South Pole from India. She skied across the South Pole. There is an episode on her. Listen to it. You know what she does now? She teaches, she lives close to the Himachal. She teaches schools and students and universities. And I told her, why don't you? And she said, I'm doing it. How to keep the environment clean, because she realized when you go there, there is a lot of plastic, there is a lot of junk. People eat and throw it. We've seen people drive S-class, Y-class, Z-class cars and throw a cone paper outside or a Bikaner wala or a Haldirams or whatever, or a packet outside. Why? Because their car should be clean. We've seen people spit on the road. We've seen people do so many things that should not be done. We are not. How can we be empathetic and say, you know what, I should not be doing this because this is the road on which I travel to work. This is the lady who remains. You know, how about treating the janitor in my college a little more politely because maybe she hasn't had food in the morning. Maybe she works 14 hours a day to put food on her table at home. How about being empathetic to your professor who travels 25 kilometers, has got an ailing mother to look after, still reaches college on time and delivers her lecture with commitment? How about being empathetic to the dean who probably is struggling with 20 other things that you're not even aware of? I don't know. Try it. Try walking in somebody else's shoes for 100 meters. Forget about a kilometer, 100 meters. And then you are qualified to comment. But if you don't, stop commenting. That is not leadership. Boys and girls, that is not leadership. Technology. You know, COVID, if there is one thing COVID has taught us, it is that you need technology. Absolutely. Digital transformation has only been expedited because of COVID. Because people who said we cannot work, never use a computer, blah, 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 blah. Earlier, you had Skype to be able to communicate with your parents or you know, when you're living abroad and all that. Today, everybody is using technology. I am speaking to you using Zoom. If we didn't have technology, lectures will not happen. I will not speak to you. You will not get to see me. Sure, I can tell you I look better in person than on a Zoom camera, but the reality is you will not get to see me. You will not get to hear me. Lectures will stop. I don't know whether your college stopped for 1 year. I'm sure you had remote lectures, and that happened only because of technology. So as a leader, are you going to stay in your hole and say, I'm scared of technology? Or are you going to jump out of your hole and say, let me embrace technology? Are you going to say, I am 50 years old, I cannot learn? Or are you going to say, I am 50 years young, I am going to learn? Futuristic. What does your consumer want going forward? What does your leader want? If you are the dean of a college, what do the students of the future want? Do they want a classroom? Do they want an electronic keyboard? Do they want professors who are 7 feet tall? Do they want more women teachers? Do they want sexier classrooms? Do they want a better canteen? I don't know. But as a dean, as an owner, as a business house, I want to be able to predict the future and go in that direction. I want to be able to do that for my institute, because then that will attract students. The world is dominated by people who have seen the future. Look at Elon Musk. Look at Bill Gates. Look at my role model. He used to be, he's no longer there, unfortunately, Steve Jobs. These are people who saw what others cannot see. Can you be one of them? Maybe you can. Chetna Gala Sinha is, Sharanjit Shan is, Reena Kaushal is, and so are the 20 other people I spoke. Can you be one of them? Try it. And human. Please be human in your approach. You know, we are all human beings, and I always say this, and I put a post on Facebook. Are we human? We are humans because we were born, but are we human in our, can we add an E? And can we be human? Can we be human in our approach to anybody? Right? Very, very important. You know, Mitt Romney, and you can, you know, coincidentally, Tapan also mentioned about the example from the US President Roosevelt, and I'm quoting. Mitt Romney is a senator in the US, and he makes, I like this statement. So it's about really taking responsibility, not being excuse. Stop making excuses. Stop saying I will do this, I will do that. Really talk about all this, right? That, my dear boys and girls, was my last slide. I will now open up the floor. I think you guys have put some 55, 60 questions, but I will open up the floor, and if somebody, Prince, if you can be kind enough to either read out, or unless you want me to go through the questions and answer them. But I only want to end with this, that please stop telling yourself you are a leader. You are a leader. You are born a leader. You can improve your leadership skill. You can adapt yourself to the situation. You can do a lot of things, but start assuming responsibility. Start taking some of the pictures you see, Nelson Mandela and Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King and anybody. And it's not just these. You could have 20 such names. Today, there is a gentleman called Kiran Verma who is walking across the length and breadth of the country because in his, and he's one of my future podcast guests, is because somebody in his vicinity died for want of blood. And he promised himself that I will make sure nobody will die for want of blood. He runs an organization, Simply Blood. Mother Teresa, somebody died in Mother Teresa's hands. If Mother Teresa had not made herself a promise that I will make sure that nobody will die for want of care, we would never have had so many women who would have benefited. The missionaries' charity would not have happened. There are enough and more examples of this, of people who have put others before them and said, why can't I do this? That is why, my dear friends, we have a better world. And I always believe people like you are going to be the future. I don't know whether we have left a great future for you, great world for you people, but for sure we are doing our bit. And I think you need to take charge, take the baton, get to the steering wheel and say, I will drive the part of what I own into the future. I will contribute to a better future instead of sitting and cribbing about the world and the government and the weather and COVID and everybody. I always say, do it for 5-10 minutes when you're having a coffee, but stop living on them. Start taking ownership. Thank you very much. And I will now take the questions. Yes, I'm open to questions. So I saw some questions here. Somebody said, what, I mean, you can even ask
I
them.
think
Ask.
instead of writing in the box, the candidates, they can ask the questions directly. I think that will
Brilliant.
be, yeah, that will be fine.
Ayushi has already written a question.
Brilliant.
Ayushi, you can speak.
Let me stop the share. Yeah. Can you all see me now?
Yeah.
Perfect. You can ask me questions. So I'm all yours. So firstly, I hope this made a difference.
Ayushi, you have written a question. If you can read it yourself. Yeah.
So, sir, my question is, if there are people out there who could help us in our difficult times, and if we are not able to like take a charge on it, is it correct? Like, are we blaming on others, or should we take responsibility over that situation?
You should take responsibility. You are responsible for your failure and your success. I will tell you something, and you wrote, what if you're having lack of time? I read that. I can tell you this. Everybody in the world is given 24 hours. Everybody. Your mom, dad, my mom, dad, you will get married, kids, your grandfather, the future generation, Tapan, Farman, everybody is given 24 hours. What is critical is what you do in those 24 hours. I always say this, people crib about not having time, not having this. It's not about resources. It's about being resourceful. Dr. Tapan doesn't get more budgets than what his predecessor got or will get. Dr. Tapan doesn't get more privileges than somebody else got. No, what he does with what he has is what makes him Dr. Tapan, and that is why he's on that seat. That's what you need to do. What makes the difference is what you do with the 10 rupees that is given to you. You can choose to have one cold drink. You can choose to feed 10 mouths, or you can choose to invest it and do. It's your choice. There is no right and wrong about it. So I don't accept when people say they don't have time.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. That's it. Only Ayushi was listening.
Yeah, anybody else?
Yes, Anirudh, you may ask the question.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So basically, I just want to ask, I had an incident yesterday as I'm leading a group. So I had some harsh words, in the heat of the moment to the group member. Is it good or bad for a leader sometimes to lose his control? Or, so pointing the mistakes that the members have done. So how can you cope up with that?
So I'm a leader. I lead large teams. I lead teams across geographies. Is it okay for a leader to lose his cool? Absolutely. You know why? Because, hey, we are human beings. Hum kaun sa upar se aaye yaar? We are born the same way. We've gone through the same phases, same stages. So I'm human being. So it's okay for me to lose my cool. It's okay for me to shout. It's not okay for me to keep screaming every morning. It's not okay for me to blame game somebody. It's not okay for me to victimize. It's okay for me to scream. Things will get done. But at the same time, as a leader, have an open discussion. Don't have a discussion. I am the leader. I said it, follow it. You can do that sometimes, but not all the times. Sometimes you need to take charge and say, because you can't have democratic decisions every time. Sometimes you have to take charge and say, guys and girls, we're going, come with me. And if people come with you, that means people come with you forcibly, that's not good. But if people follow you, that is inspirational leadership. I call them level 5 leaders, where you hop onto a bus with them. And I work with people like that, where you hop onto a bus with them. You don't know where the bus is going, but you're getting onto the bus because you have that leader at the steering wheel and you are confident about his abilities. So yeah, so it's absolutely fine.
Okay, sir. Thanks.
Thank you.
Great. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Sir,
So clearly my lecture has not made an impact at all.
sir,
Might be it has been highly impacted them, so they're speechless.
I'm audible, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Sir, Abhishek Singh this side. First of all, good day, good afternoon. Sir,
Good afternoon.
Sir, my question is how to leadership to add a new unique ideas on leadership. So manage a team.
अरे unless you're sitting in a bar, शक्ल तो दिखा दो अभिषेक. Lovely. Now you can shut off. No problem.
Yeah.
Okay, Abhishek, ask your question again now. Now that I've seen your face, ask your question again.
Sir, we are like leader. Example that take example. Then, sir, how to will manage a uniqueness of leadership? Like which type of uniqueness of here in a leadership?
I mean, there is nothing unique. You know, the word unique has lost its meaning. There is nothing unique. It's about adapting yourself for the situation. If you say there is a quality in Tapan that is unique, it's a unique quality for that situation or for that circumstance or for the institute. Is Dr. Tapan the only person with that quality? I don't think so. Maybe few people have it, but for sure others have it. You know, it's like there are very few ideas that are unique, but a lot of ideas run. So your idea doesn't have to be unique. You don't have to be a unique leader. As long as you are a leader with the requisite qualities and the requisite experience and the competencies, you can run. Your uniqueness doesn't have to be in your leadership. Your uniqueness has to be in the way you manage. You know, I'll give you a simple example here. Anybody who's married in the group?
Of course, yeah.
Oh, doctor, you and I don't qualify, Dr. Farman, we don't qualify. So the lucky fellows who are not married. Okay, let me ask. You know, we all get married, and then after, when we have a bad day with the wife or with the husband, and I'm sorry, women, excuse me for this, we say, "Meri maa isse acha dal banati thi." You know, and something as simple as that, and you know, and this is about cooks, right? You cook, you make a dal.
Yes, right.
And isn't it true? Your mother makes the dal. Why is it that? And we say it's love and affection, and I agree. Why is it that the same ingredients, when made by one person, is different than made by other person? For me, that is the uniqueness. The ability to bring together the qualities and demonstrating it and implementing it at the right time is the uniqueness.
Yes, right, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if you try putting sugar, and if you try putting gur, and if you try putting badam and haldi and I don't know what goes into the dal, you can say, boss, ये तो unique है, मैंने यार I don't know what मैंने दही डाल दिया दाल में, या मैंने I don't know, मैंने गाजर डाल दिया दाल में. That's not unique. The world is making dal. It's a success model happening. What's unique is maybe you cook it for extra 3.5 minutes.
Right, sir. Maybe
you boil the cumin seeds 5 minutes before. I don't know. That's your secret. So that's your secret sauce. It is not the sauce. It's the mixture and the amalgamation of the qualities that you bring together as a leader.
Right, sir.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. I'll just want to add one thing to
Mr.
Venki. You know, he has rightly said. See, who asked this question? Abhishek. Abhishek, let me tell you that, I mean, there is no such, you know, one may be unique, 1 minute unique, right? Leadership is not based on, you know, your uniqueness, what you do. But certainly one thing is there that you need to follow a growth mindset. It's not unique. It's all depends upon the mindset. You know, some people are fixed in approach. Some people are having growth mindset in approach, right? So whatever you do, it may be unique for some people. It may not be unique for some people, right? But you certainly do things, you know, having a growth mindset in your mind. Right? There is a very good book I told you in class also, a book called Mindset, right, by Carol Dweck. So go through that particular book, you'll find whether I'm unique or not, but certainly I have a growth mindset.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's a great book. And you know, and it's a great point, Dr. You raised. You know, people ask me, what should I do? How should I become a leader? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying, you know, can we become good human beings? इंसान बन जाएं, उतना ही काफी है यार. Leadership will come.
Yes, sir. Maybe, sir, कुछ लीडर्स में होता है, कुछ यूनिकनेस तो होता ही है, वो ऑटोमेटिक होता है वो, सर. अब मतलब वो कहीं से आता नहीं है, उसके अंदर होता है कि वो अट्रैक्ट कर लेता है किसी और पीपल को. तो
Correct.
वही मैं पूछना मतलब कि वो हम अपने से, कैसे उसको जान सके, उसको अपने अंदर,
नहीं,
मतलब कि ये है
वो Abhishek,
yeah,
Abhishek,
doctor, yeah.
I'm sorry, Venki.
No, doctor,
I'm
please,
tempted
please.
to answer this question. रामायण में एक किरदार है हनुमान जी, राइट?
राइट।
अब हनुमान जी के अंदर इतने पोटेंशियलिटीज था, ये उनको खुद नहीं पता था। हर वक्त उनको एक किरदार और है जामवंत, ये उनको बताते थे कि हनुमान जी, यू कैन फ्लाई, राइट? यू कैन डू दिस, यू कैन डू दैट, you can bring this, you can bring that, right? वो each and every human being, they have some potential into it. आपके अंदर भी यूनिकनेस है, मेरे अंदर भी यूनिकनेस है, हम सभी के अंदर यूनिकनेस है. बस थिंग इज that we are most of the time waiting for someone to tell us that there is something inside you, get out of it, right? So what I'm trying to say is try to get that uniqueness from within. I mean, that is there within you. That's what I'm trying to say.
And just to add to that, since he mentioned, Doctor mentioned Ramayana, Hanuman goes and just going to quickly say it. All of you have read Ramayana. I hope. Hanuman goes to the other side of he goes to Lanka, and Ram tells him, find my Sita and come back to me, and Hanuman comes back. So it obviously takes so many days and so many blah blah blah, and he comes back, right? When he comes back and he comes and meets Ram and Lakshman, right? Imagine a scenario, he comes back and he says, the first thing that Hanuman says, and those days there was no management classes, yeah, there was no Dr. Tapan teaching, there are no MBA schools. He came and he says, and it's very beautifully said by Tulsidas ji in different languages. He says, I met Sita.
Yes.
That is the first sentence he says, and he says it and he obviously says in Sanskrit. And what do we do? He could have said, "Arey boss, gaya tha yaar, pucho nahi, jate jate yaar, ye mil gayi, uske baad wo mil gaya yaar. Don't ask, there was so much traffic, and then this, and don't ask, man. I went there and there was no water. The food, it tastes so bad in that stupid place. That restaurant was closed, and boss Ram is not interested. He said the first thing that he wants to hear, which is Sita is alive and I met her. Now you talk everything, boss. We don't communicate. Now, for me, is communication a skill? Absolutely. Is that a uniqueness? Maybe.
Yes, sir.
So I just gave an example. I want to extend what Dr. Tapan said. So thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, sir. And thank you, sir. Tapan, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we have a next question from Gaurav.
Gaurav, are you here? You can ask.
Gaurav Yadav.
So Gaurav, you can ask or I can read your question. You want to ask? Why don't you ask so people know?
I will ask a question. As we have seen the past about animals and Mukesh Ambani, they have not achieved too much, but they are living without studies. How they are living?
So Gaurav, it's changing now, but typically if you look at Silicon Valley and if you look at a lot of people who have set up and run successful startups and made it big, and whether it's a social enterprise or whether it's a profitable enterprise, they're all people who may or may not have gone to college or school. Education and a lot of education that we undergo or we go through in India still does not prepare us. And this is not me, this is Gartner saying, still does not prepare us for the corporate world. Unfortunately, a very small percentage of students who pass out of business schools are ready to start working, are ready to handle an environment like the corporate world. And I don't know why it stands true even today. So I don't think education is directly related to success. And for me, when you say education, I want to have a caveat here. Education in your thing, you're saying it means going to school and college. Listen, you can go to school and college, you can listen to Dr. Tapan, shut your ears by heart at the end of the year and score 90% and come first. I don't think you will be able to run a successful company, or I don't think you will become a CEO or a great leader. You can frame that gold medal and you can put it after 10 years, even your kids won't want to see it. So I think education and success have to be separated. I don't think just because you're educated doesn't mean you will be successful. Simply put, just because you're not educated, and I say education, I mean just because you're not gone to the best school or college doesn't mean you will not be successful. Education is what you learn, what you pick up from the janitor, from the tea boy, from Dr. Tapan, from Farman, from the person who delivers the courier packet, from the security guard at your college, from the watchman in your building, from the Uber driver. For me, that is education. And if you haven't learned all of that, I feel sorry for you. So stop learning, stop wanting to come to a classroom to learn. The world is your classroom. You are the younger generation. You are Generation Y. You are the millennials. Read books, watch videos, listen to TED Talks, talk to Dr. Tapan over a coffee, ask him difficult questions, ask your professors, ask Dr. Vartika difficult questions. I don't know, but maybe if Dr. Tapan teaches psychology, I don't know, try asking him a question on history. I don't think he will say, you have no right to ask me that question. Even if he doesn't know the answer, he'll probably read it up and come and say, you know, yesterday you asked me, I read it up last night, and this is the answer. We don't try. Answers are everywhere in the universe. We don't ask the questions.
We have a next question from Aman Saraswat. He says, what is the importance of goals in life of a leader?
Where are you, Aman?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Are you a leader?
No, sir.
No. Okay. You are not a leader.
Sir, I'm
So,
leader.
No. Okay, you answered, no problem. You are not a leader. And we won't debate that. I just wanted a yes or a no. So that means you don't need a goal. यार आप क्यों फालतू में सवाल कर रहे हो फिर? Yeah, you are not a leader. I am not a leader. So छोड़ो goal वोल क्या करना है? What time you got up this morning?
Sir, actually this question arises because
अरे यार मैं सवाल पूछ रहा हूँ. I understand your question. What time did you get up this morning?
what?
What time you woke up this morning? कितने बजे उठे आप आज?
7:30.
7:30 उठ के. Let's assume you woke up at 7:30. Okay. Now I'm answering your question. And you said, boss, आज मुझे पता नहीं क्या करना है. Or you woke up in the morning and you said, आज हम बालकनी में वरांडा में बैठेंगे, चाय पिएंगे, बिस्कुट खाएंगे और आसमान देखेंगे. The second one is a goal. Yes. That was your goal for today. Good or bad, we will not discuss. So it's not leaders. Everybody needs goals. If you don't have a goal, you don't know what you're doing. You know, how many of you have read Alice in Wonderland? Doctor, I recommend and I insist that all of your students read Alice in Wonderland. Farman, buy it for the library. It is not an expensive.
Note it down. We'll certainly buy it.
Please buy it. It is not an expensive. I want all of you to read Alice in Wonderland. It is one of the best stories. So there is a character called Alice who is in Wonderland, blah, blah, blah. There is a character called Cat. He's called the Cheshire Cat. Cheshire. And Alice is walking. So Alice is lost. She's come to Wonderland. She's lost and she's walking. And she comes to a crossroad. You know crossroad, right? Jisko chauraha bolte. She's coming to a crossroad. And she asks the Cheshire Cat. So she says, I'm lost. I don't know where to go. She tells the cat. And the cat says, where do you want to go? She says, I don't know. The cat says, if you don't know where you want to go, then it doesn't matter where you go.
Absolutely.
And I read Alice in Wonderland when I was in school. Please buy it, doctor. Otherwise, Farman, buy it. It will be my contribution to your college. Please, I don't mind.
Definitely we'll do that.
It is a fantastic book and I want everybody to read it. And think about the dialogue. Cheshire Cat is telling Alice, if you don't know where you want to go, I mean, Alice is asking, which road should I take? If you don't know where you want to go or you are not sure, it doesn't matter which road you take, isn't it? If you leave home and you have a chauraha, you have a junction and there are 3 roads and you don't know where you want to go, does it matter which road you take? Aman, does it matter which road you take? Farak padta hai kaun sa rasta liya to?
No, sir.
Correct. Because you want to come to college, you take the first right after the roundabout. So goals are like the headlights in your car. Doesn't mean you switch them on only in the night. In the daytime, your eyes are your headlights. and the sun is your headlight, and the universe. You need to have goals, because if you don't have goals, and I'm talking about personal goals, organization goals. If you don't have goals, you have which year are you? First year or second year, Aman?
फर्स्ट ईयर स्टूडेंट
आपको MBA पास होना है, MBA नहीं पास होना है?
बस होना है.
तो यही आपका गोल है. सपोजिंग यू सेड नहीं यार, हम वैसे यार टाइम पास करते हैं, ऐसे आएंगे, कॉलेज अच्छा है, खाना अच्छा है, चलो यार कहाँ आते टाइम पास करके चले जाते हैं. Will you come to college every day? Will you attend classes? No, you wouldn't waste money. You're paid for this, right? The professors are putting time into you. You're using the institution resources. You're using the roads to drive on. You're spending money on transport. You're talking to friends and taking their mind. Goals are important for every aspect, for everybody in life. यार आप वो सिक्योरिटी गार्ड से पूछ लो, यार आपको क्या बनना है? That guy will tell you, sir, मुझे मूवी स्टार बनना था, साला मैंने गलत ट्रेन ले लिया, मैं आपके बिल्डिंग में आ गया. Trust me, all of us must and should have goals. It doesn't matter what your goal is. There is nothing right and wrong, because if you don't have a goal, you will not be able to move forward, or you will not progress. Did I answer your question, Aman?
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
And you are a leader. Stop telling you are not a leader. You are a leader.
Yes, sir.
Yes, that's true. Great, sir. I think we will have endless questions. This is Farman's polite. This is Farman's polite way of telling me to shut up. No. Sir, see, I tell you, I invited you 2 times.
It is absolutely not.
After 10 years, I would like to bring in the knowledge of director, sir. It is after 12 years, I am having his session, and it is even more energetic than, I had the last one. And whenever I invited him for 1 hour, he used to say, Farman, 1 hour is less. Why have you given me 1 hour? I need more time.
Farman, let me tell you that you found him after 12 years. But I think what I am feeling right now is that as if I met him yesterday only.
Oh,
this is
yes.
This is the impression which I'm getting. It was absolutely fantastic, Venkatesh, hearing you today. It was speechless from my side, and I do not know what exactly you eat. And this was a power pack address to all my dear students. I'm sure students, you might have received a lot today. I personally have learned a lot. Okay, and so much thank you, Venkatesh.
And Doctor, someday I want to come and talk to the students personally in your institute.
Oh yes, it would be our pleasure, sir.
I really want to. I want to take a half day. I want to take a half day session for you guys.
Yes, sir, right.
Even we'll be giving you 1 day, sir. 1 day, full 1 day will be.
In fact, we'll request one more session sometime, sir.
Anytime.
On the same topic. Yeah. So with this, we would like to end. It has been eye-opening for me. Even while attending your session, I was, there is no choice in the professional life of excuses. But yes, on the personal front, I was thinking, where I make excuses, looking at the slide. So it has been quite motivating and inspiring. And of course, everybody is going to make corrections, and it is to everyone, it will be giving, everybody is compelled to think beyond the boundaries. And I firmly believe life is an echo. Whatever you give is written back to you. You give the best to this world, and the best will come back to you.
Absolutely.
Yes. So with this, I would request our director, sir, with the ending lines.
I already have, extended my sincere gratitude to Venkatesh. Venkatesh, it was really marvelous to hear you today. And let me confess one thing here today, that students are here, that we also have an immersion program, international immersion program, which we plan for our students. And this year also we are, depending upon all the situations, we are planning to go even to Dubai if it happens. Really, depending upon the situation, we'll definitely meet you there. Okay. And,
lovely.
And my students would love to meet you in Dubai. So, sure. but it all depends upon the the pandemic and the government regulations and everything. But yes, definitely, it would be a real pleasure to host you in campus and to, you know, students are going to learn a huge from a person like you. I have learned a lot. Definitely, I'm going to use this particular trick in my classes also. I mean, right? So thank you so much, Venkatesh,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much
today, right? And we'll look forward to hear you more and more in future.
Absolutely.
Maybe physical or online.
Yes. Really love to all of you, and you know, stay in touch. It's really wonderful to.
It was a wonderful session, sir. In fact, you know, it is a time, you know, when maybe we all feel like talking to you more, but you know, we have other.
How is the food? How is the food in the college? This question is not for Tapan and Farman. It's for the students.
Nice.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Love you all. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, students.